Sil accused me of cheating with her, Fiancé, because my newborn baby looks like him. So some background. I'm 28F and married to my husband Aaron for 4 years. We've been trying to have a baby for 2 years and finally got pregnant last year and had our son Danny 3 weeks ago. It's been the most amazing and exhausting time of my life, and I love this little guy more than anything. My husband is over the moon about being a dad. Aaron's sister Bonnie is 26F, and she's been with her fiancé Sean for 3 years. They got engaged last Christmas, and honestly, I always thought they were a good match, even though Bonnie can be a bit intense sometimes. But whatever makes Bonnie's fiancé happy, right? Now here's the thing. Sean and I are both Korean. Like, our families immigrated here when we were kids, and we both have that typical Korean look. You know what I mean? My husband Aaron and his sister Bonnie are both white, and honestly, I never thought much about it, because why would I? But apparently Bonnie has been thinking about it a lot more than I realized, and tonight everything just exploded. I'm still trying to process what the hell happened. So we're at Aaron's parents' house for Sunday dinner like we do every week, and I brought Danny because he's still so little, and everyone loves holding him and seeing him. Sean was playing with him on the couch and saying how cute he was and how he had such chubby cheeks. Bonnie was sitting next to them, and she got really quiet. Then she just stood up and said, "We need to talk." I thought she meant her and Sean, but then she looked right at me and said, "No, we all need to talk about this right now." I'm holding Danny and trying to figure out what's going on, and Bonnie starts saying how she's been thinking about this for weeks, and she can't ignore it anymore. Then she just comes out and says it. She thinks Sean is Danny's father, and that I had an affair with him. That's why Danny looks so much like Sean and not like Aaron. I swear to God, my brain just stopped working for a minute because what the actual hell was she talking about? Aaron immediately stood up and told her she was crazy and to apologize, but Bonnie doubled down and started saying how Danny has Sean's eyes and his nose and his hair, and how it's too much of a coincidence that they both look Korean. She's been watching us interact, and she thinks something happened. Honestly, I wanted to laugh because it was so ridiculous, but I was also furious because who says something like that about someone's newborn baby? Sean looked like he'd been slapped, and he kept saying, "Bonnie, what are you talking about?" She turned on him too and said, "Don't lie to me. I've seen how you look at her and how you always volunteer to hold the baby and you light up when you see him. It's not normal." I realized she wasn't just making this up on the spot. She'd been thinking about this and building this whole story in her head for weeks. I finally told her she was absolutely insane and that Danny looks like me and like every other Korean baby because that's how genetics work. I would never cheat on my husband, especially not with her fiancé, and she needed to apologize right now and take it back. But she just kept going and said she wanted a paternity test to prove it. And until then, she didn't want Sean around the baby anymore. The whole family was just sitting there in shock. Aaron's mom started crying, and his dad was trying to calm everyone down. But Bonnie wasn't backing down. Sean was getting angrier and angrier, and finally he stood up and said, "If this is what you really think of me after 3 years together, then we have nothing left to talk about." And he walked out. Bonnie ran after him, screaming. Aaron and I left right after that, and we've been at home since then. I keep replaying it over and over in my head, and I'm so angry I could scream because how dare she accuse me of cheating? How dare she make my innocent baby part of her paranoid delusions? I told Aaron there's no way I'm taking any paternity test because I shouldn't have to prove my innocence when I didn't do anything wrong. But now Aaron is saying maybe we should just do the test to clear the air and prove her wrong and move on. I'm like, no, absolutely not. Because the minute I agree to that test, I'm admitting there's a reason to doubt, and there isn't. I'm not going to validate her crazy accusations by treating them like they're reasonable requests. I've been thinking about this all night while Danny sleeps, and I keep coming back to the same thing. Bonnie has always been a little possessive of Sean, but I thought it was just because she loved him and wanted to protect their relationship. Now I'm wondering if she's always been suspicious of me. Just because Sean and I are both Korean, we get along well at family gatherings and can talk about things like our family's immigration stories and Korean food and cultural stuff that Erin and Bonnie don't really understand. It's making me sick to think that she's been watching me and building this whole narrative in her head where I am some kind of homewrecker when all I've ever done is be polite and friendly and treat Sean like the family member he's going to become when he marries Bonnie. Now she's destroyed that, and I don't know how we're supposed to move forward from this, because even if she apologizes, how do I forget that she thinks I'm capable of cheating on my husband and lying about my baby's father? Erin keeps saying she's probably just stressed about the wedding and hormonal or something, but I don't care what her excuse is. You don't accuse someone of infidelity without proof, and you definitely don't drag an innocent baby into your paranoid fantasies and expect everyone to just go along with it to make you feel better. So, Ida, for refusing to take the paternity test and basically telling Bonnie to shove her accusations where the sun doesn't shine, I feel like I'm going crazy here. And everyone keeps telling me to just take the test to keep the peace. But I shouldn't have to prove my innocence when I'm not guilty of anything. Some people are asking why I won't just take the test if I have nothing to hide, and honestly, that attitude is exactly the problem. I shouldn't have to submit to medical testing because someone made up a story about me in their head, and the fact that people think that's a reasonable request is insane to me. Sean called Erin this morning, and apparently he and Bonnie had a huge fight last night. She's doubling down on her accusations and demanding he cut contact with our family until we do the paternity test. Sean told her absolutely not, and that if she can't trust him after 3 years together, then their relationship is over. She started screaming at him and threw her engagement ring at him. Sean is staying at a hotel right now, and Erin's parents are devastated because they've grown to love Sean over the past 3 years, and they don't want the family to fall apart. But they also can't believe Bonnie made those accusations. Erin's mom called me crying this morning, asking what she should do, and honestly, I don't know what to tell her because this whole situation is so messed up. I'm still not taking any paternity test because I refuse to legitimize Bonnie's delusions. But now I'm worried that Sean and Bonnie are going to break up over this. And everyone's going to blame me for not just doing the test to save their relationship. I'm already feeling guilty, even though I know logically that none of this is my fault. Erin is being supportive, but I can tell he's stressed about his family falling apart. I wonder if he secretly thinks I should just take the test too. But he won't say it because he knows I'll lose it on him. And honestly, I probably would because I'm so tired of people acting like Bonnie's paranoid accusations are my problem to solve. Danny is completely oblivious to all this drama, thank God. And he's such a sweet baby. He does look like me. And he looks like a lot of Korean babies I've seen. The fact that Bonnie thinks his appearance is proof of infidelity is so racist and gross. And I can't believe no one else is calling that out. Update 1. It's been 4 days since the dinner disaster, and things have gotten so much worse. I honestly don't know what to do anymore, but I need to update you guys because the whole situation has completely spiraled, and I'm questioning everything and everyone right now. So Sean has been staying at the hotel since Sunday, and Bonnie has been calling everyone in the family, trying to get them to pressure me into taking the paternity test. She called my own mother yesterday and told her about the accusations. My mom was so confused and upset and asked me what was going on, and I had to explain the whole insane situation to her. My mom was furious, and she said Bonnie had no right to involve her in this mess, and that she knows Danny is Erin's baby because she was there when I was pregnant and saw how excited Erin was and how we planned for this baby for years. She told Bonnie never to call her again. But the fact that Bonnie even thought to call my mom shows how far she's willing to go with this. Then, yesterday, Erin's other sister Emma called me, and she was trying to be diplomatic, but basically said that maybe I should consider taking the test just to put everyone's mind at ease. I lost it on her and said, "Whose mind exactly?" Because my mind is at ease, and Erin's mind is at ease, and Sean's mind is at ease. So whose mind are we trying to put at ease here? She got quiet and said, "Well, Bonnie's, obviously." And I said Bonnie's peace of mind is not my responsibility, especially when it's based on racist assumptions and lies. Emma got defensive and said it's not about race. And I said, "Oh, really? Then why doesn't she think Danny looks like any of the other white men in our family? And why is Sean the only one she's suspicious of?" Emma couldn't answer that, and I hung up on her because I was so angry I couldn't see straight. But here's the thing that's really getting to me. Aaron came home from work yesterday, and he was acting weird and distant. Finally, I asked him what was wrong, and he said his whole family's talking about this, and everyone thinks I should just take the test to end the drama. I said, "So now you think I should take it too?" And he said he didn't know anymore, and maybe it would just be easier. I stared at him for like 10 seconds, and then I started yelling, and I mean really yelling. Easier for who, exactly? Because it's not easier for me to have to prove I didn't cheat on my husband, and it's not easier for me to validate some racist woman's paranoid delusions, and it's definitely not easier for me to live with the fact that my own husband thinks I should have to take a paternity test for our son. Aaron tried to backtrack and said he didn't think I'd cheated, but maybe if we just did the test, then Bonnie would apologize, and everything could go back to normal. I said, "Normal? You think things are going to go back to normal after she accused me of having an affair and questioned whether my baby is yours, and you want me to reward that behavior by giving her exactly what she wants?" We had our first real fight since Danny was born, and Aaron slept in the guest room. I stayed up all night crying and feeding the baby and wondering how my life turned into this nightmare, because 3 weeks ago, I was the happiest I'd ever been. And now, my sister-in-law thinks I'm a cheater, and my husband thinks I should prove I'm not. I feel like I'm in some kind of alternate reality. This morning, Aaron apologized and said he was just stressed, and he knows I didn't cheat, and he doesn't really think I should take the test, but his family is putting so much pressure on him. Everyone keeps asking him why I won't just do it if I have nothing to hide, and it's wearing him down. I get that. But I told him he needs to choose sides here because he can't support me and also think I should give in to Bonnie's demands. Sean texted me today and apologized for all of this and said he never meant for his relationship problems to affect me and my family. He's trying to work things out with Bonnie, but she won't even talk to him unless he agrees that I should take the test. And he refuses to do that because he says it's insulting to both of us, and he knows nothing happened between us. I'm starting to think Bonnie has some kind of mental health issue because normal people don't build elaborate conspiracy theories about their future sister-in-law having affairs based on what a baby looks like. The more I think about it, the more I remember little things she's said and done over the years that seemed weird at the time, but I just brushed off. Like last Christmas when Sean and I were talking about Korean dramas we both watch, and she made some comment about how we seem to have a lot in common, and it was interesting how we always found so much to talk about. I thought she was just making conversation, but now I'm wondering if she was already suspicious then. Or the time she asked Aaron if he ever worried about me and Sean spending time together at family events. Aaron laughed and said, "No, why would he?" And she said, "Oh, no reason, just wondering." I thought it was a weird question, but I figured she was just curious about family dynamics since Sean wasn't technically family yet. But thinking back on all these little moments, I'm realizing she's probably been building this paranoid narrative for months, or maybe even years, and the baby was just the final piece that made her snap and confront everyone. I'm actually scared of what she might do next, because someone who can convince themselves of something this elaborate based on nothing isn't thinking rationally. Aaron's parents want to have a family meeting to try to resolve this, but I told Aaron absolutely not, because I'm not sitting in a room with Bonnie while she accuses me of cheating and demands I take medical tests to prove my innocence. I don't care if that makes me the bad guy in their eyes. Small update. Okay, so I'm back, and after reading all your comments and thinking about this non-stop, I decided to take the paternity test. But not for the reasons you might think, and definitely not because I think Bonnie deserves it. Because she absolutely doesn't deserve anything from me after what she's put us through. I kept thinking about what some of you said about how this might always be in the back of Aaron's mind, even though he says he trusts me. And I realized that even though I know he believes me, there's probably some tiny part of him that wonders. I hate that Bonnie's poison has gotten into our marriage even a little bit, and I want to kill that doubt completely before it can grow. So I told Aaron yesterday that I would take the test, but only for him, and only so that he would never have any doubts ever. The results would be between us, and nobody else would ever see them, or even know we did it. Aaron said he didn't need me to prove anything, but I could see the relief in his eyes, and I knew I was making the right choice for us. We went to a private lab today, and they did the test, and we should have the results in a few days. I made Aaron promise that no matter what happens with his family, he will never tell anyone we did this, because I'm not giving Bonnie the satisfaction of thinking she forced me to prove my innocence. This is just for us and our peace of mind. Aaron has been so grateful, and he keeps thanking me and saying he knows the results will prove what he already knows. I told him this isn't about proving anything to him because I know he trusts me, but it's about making sure there's never any shadow of doubt between us that Bonnie can use to try to hurt us again. I'm still angry that it came to this, and I still think Bonnie is a racist, paranoid psycho, but I love my husband, and I want our marriage to be bulletproof against her crazy accusations. If taking this test does that, then it's worth it, but she will never know we did it. The lab said they'd call us with the results, and I'm not nervous because I know what they're going to say, but I am anxious to put this whole thing behind us and move forward without this hanging over our heads. I just want to focus on being happy with my family without Bonnie's poison affecting us anymore. Some of you were right that this might always be a tiny doubt in Aaron's mind, even if he didn't want to admit it. And I'd rather eliminate that doubt completely than let it fester and potentially cause problems later. I think that's what a strong marriage looks like, doing whatever it takes to protect each other and our bond. I'll update when we get the results, but obviously they're going to confirm what we already know, and then Aaron and I can move forward with complete certainty, and Bonnie can go crazy all by herself without affecting our marriage or our family anymore. We got the paternity test results yesterday, and obviously Danny is 100% Aaron's son, which we already knew. Aaron cried when we read it together and said he was sorry he ever let Bonnie's accusations get into his head even a little bit. We burned the test results after we read them because I don't want any evidence that we ever doubted Danny's parentage. This was just for us to have complete peace of mind, and now we do, and we can move forward without any shadow hanging over us. Aaron has been so much more relaxed since we got the results, and I can tell a weight has been lifted off his shoulders, even though he tried to pretend he didn't have any doubts. I'm glad we did it because now our marriage is stronger. But everything has completely exploded anyway, and I don't even know where to start. Sean and Bonnie are officially over, and she's now claiming I seduced Sean and manipulated the whole family against her. I'm so angry I can barely type this without shaking. So yesterday, Sean went to their apartment to get his stuff, and Bonnie was there. She started the same argument again about the paternity test, and Sean told her he was done, and he couldn't be with someone who thought so little of him and his integrity. Bonnie completely lost it and started screaming that I had turned him against her and that I was a manipulative bitch who had been planning this for years. Sean told me all this when he came over today to apologize again and to let us know he was moving back to his own place and wanted to make sure we were okay, and that this whole mess wasn't affecting our relationship with him. Honestly, I was so grateful he came because I was starting to worry that he blamed me for ruining his engagement. But when Sean was here playing with Danny and Aaron was making coffee, Bonnie showed up at our door and started pounding on it and screaming for Sean to come outside and talk to her. When Aaron opened the door, she pushed past him and saw Sean holding Danny, and she just started screaming. She was yelling about how she knew it in here was proof, and how could we do this to her? And she was going to tell everyone what kind of people we really were. Sean stood up with Danny still in his arms and told her to leave immediately and that she was scaring the baby. Bonnie reached for Danny and tried to take him from Sean. I jumped up and grabbed Danny from both of them and told Bonnie to get out of my house right now. She turned on me and started calling me every name in the book and saying I was a home-wrecking whore who had destroyed her life and stolen her fiancé. I was holding my baby while this woman screamed at me in my own living room, and I just snapped. I got right in her face and told her she was a racist, paranoid psycho who had made up an entire fantasy about me and Sean because she couldn't handle fact that we're both Korean and get along like normal people. She needed to get professional help because normal people don't act like this. And she better never come to my house again, or I'd call the police. Bonnie slapped me across the face while I was holding Danny, and Sean immediately got between us and told her she was completely out of line and needed to leave before this got worse. Aaron was on the phone with 911, and Bonnie finally realized how far she'd gone and ran out of the house crying. The police came and took a report and said we could file charges for assault, but honestly, I just want her to leave us alone and never see her again. Aaron agreed, and Sean looked like he was going to be sick and kept apologizing over and over and saying he never thought she was capable of violence. Today, Sean called and said Bonnie had been calling him nonstop, begging him to take her back and promising she'd apologize and forget about the paternity test if he'd just give her another chance. He told her absolutely not, and that hitting me while I was holding a baby was unforgivable. He blocked her number and her social media, and he's done with her forever. Aaron's parents called today too, and they're horrified about what happened. They said they never want to see Bonnie again, and they're so sorry they ever suggested I should consider taking the test. They know I'm a good person and a faithful wife, and they love Danny so much, and they're ashamed that they ever doubted me even for a second. I felt vindicated, but also exhausted because this whole thing has been so draining. I keep thinking about how she slapped me while I was holding my 3-week-old baby. What kind of person does that? I'm actually scared of her now because someone who can escalate to violence that quickly over a fantasy they made up is dangerous. Sean came over again today and brought Danny a little Korean children's book and said he hoped he could still be part of Danny's life as an honorary uncle and that he was so sorry for everything Bonnie put us through. I told him, of course, he's still welcome in our lives, and none of this was his fault. Honestly, I feel bad for him because he wasted 3 years with someone who turned out to be completely unhinged. Aaron has been amazing through all of this, and he keeps apologizing for ever suggesting I should take the test. He says he realizes now how insulting that was, and he should have supported me from the beginning and stood up to his family when they were pressuring me. I'm just glad we're on the same side again, because for a minute there, I was worried this was going to damage our marriage too. Danny is doing great through all of this chaos, and he's such a happy baby. He has no idea that some crazy woman tried to destroy his family before he was even a month old. I'm going to make sure he grows up knowing he's loved and wanted, and that his parents fought for him when someone tried to tear our family apart. Final update. It's been 2 weeks since Bonnie slapped me, and I thought things were finally calming down. But yesterday, I found out she's been telling people at her work and around Aaron's family her version of events. Apparently, in her story, I'm the villain who seduced Sean and broke up their perfect relationship, and she's the victim who was just trying to protect her family. I'm so done with this woman I could scream. Aaron's cousin lives across town, and she called yesterday to say she'd heard some rumors about me having an affair, and she wanted to check if everything was okay. I had to explain the whole insane situation again, and apparently Bonnie has been telling people that Sean left her for me, and that I manipulated the whole family into taking my side, and that Danny might not even be Aaron's baby. I'm furious because I thought this nightmare was over when she left us alone, but now she's trying to destroy my reputation around Aaron's family and make me look like some kind of homewrecker when all I did was exist as a Korean woman and have a baby that looks like me. Aaron is livid, and he wants to talk to a lawyer about defamation. But honestly, I just want to move on with my life and focus on my baby and my marriage, and not give Bonnie any more of my energy or attention because she's already taken too much, and I refuse to let her take any more. The funny thing is that most people who know me don't believe Bonnie's stories anyway, because they know I'm not that kind of person, and they can see how happy Aaron and I are and how much we love Danny. They think Bonnie sounds unstable and desperate, which she is, but it still hurts to know she's out there trying to ruin my reputation. Aaron's family has completely cut ties with Bonnie, and they've made it clear to everyone that they support me and Aaron, and that Bonnie's accusations were completely false and baseless. Aaron's mom even posted on Facebook about how much she loves her grandson Danny, and how proud she is of her daughter-in-law. I appreciated that, even though I hate that it came to this. Danny is 6 weeks old now, and he's getting bigger and more alert every day. He smiles at me when I talk to him, and he's the most beautiful, perfect baby in the world. I can't believe Bonnie tried to make him part of her twisted fantasy, but he's safe and loved, and that's all that matters. I've been thinking a lot about why this whole thing affected me so much, and I think it's because Bonnie attacked the two most important things in my life, my marriage and my baby. She did it in a way that felt racist and xenophobic, even if she didn't mean it that way. And it made me feel like I don't really belong in this family, even though they've always been good to me. But Aaron has been so supportive and loving through all of this, and his family has really stepped up to show me that I do belong, and that they were just confused and scared by Bonnie's accusations and didn't know how to handle it. They're sorry for not supporting me better from the beginning, and I'm trying to forgive and move forward. The paternity test thing still makes me angry because I know if I had been a white woman married to Aaron with a white baby, no one would have ever suggested that my baby might not be my husband's. But just because I happen to be a Korean woman, I am being blamed for cheating. Bonnie moved away last month, and I hope I never see her again. I hope she gets the help she clearly needs. But mostly, I just want to forget she ever existed and focus on raising my son and being happy with my husband and living the life we built together before she tried to tear it apart with her racist, paranoid nonsense.